71% of market return came from dividend payouts and not appreciation. What's up guys, today we're looking at top 5 US dividend stocks that you can use to build a passive income. Now in my previous video we discussed UK based dividend stocks that pay a considerably high amount of dividends, like Imperial Brands, which gives a dividends of 11%. If you're a UK based investor, then it's worth investing in UK companies because you don't have to pay exchange rate fees, so it's worth checking out that video. Having said that, we have seen US companies outperform UK companies by a long shot. So we're going to be discussing US companies today. Before we get into it, my name is Jag. I make all kind of videos on the stock market, so if you're into that type of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, please make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm because it really supports the channel. Having said that, let's get straight into it. So there are massive companies out there that may pay a dividend even higher than the ones that I'm mentioning next. But in today's video, we're going to look at dividend aristocrats. Now you might be thinking, what the hell is a dividend aristocrat? What is it, some guy sitting on a park bench somewhere dressed in Victorian clothing giving out some Victorian shillings? And yes it is. No it's not. Well, kind of. In fact, it's an S&P 500 company which has given out a dividend for the last 25 consecutive years. So years without breaking. It has never decreased or stopped its dividends. So that's important to know. Now, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for an investor? Why should I care about a dividend being an aristocrat? Surely you can just pick up the stocks that give out the highest dividends, right? Well, not exactly. Because we want to pick companies that not only give out a good dividends, but can actually sustainably do this. And yeah, you'll find some stocks that are giving out like 10% dividends, but you need to understand whether they'll be able to do this in the future, or are they going to screw us over next year and cut the dividends in half? Guys, it's all about affordability. Does the company have enough cash flow coming in to actually afford to pay out dividends? With dividend aristocrats, you know that the company is not just going to cut its dividends like that. It has built up a reputation. It has sustainably gave out a dividend for the last 25 years. It's not going to just break this record just like that. Some investors will just pull out of that stock completely because they invested it because of that dividend payment, which will then decrease the stock price. But the first company that has worked really hard to give investors dividend for the last 62 years is 3M. Guys, that's 62 years of non-stop medical moolah. 3M offers a solid 3% dividend, which is why it's at number 5 and not number 1. It has 4 subsectors which make up its income flow: safety and industrial, transportation, healthcare, and consumer, which shows it's relatively diverse in its income, unlike other stocks in the same category. It's also important to know that 60% of its revenue comes from outside the US. Now, this is very important. It shows that 3M is not just reliant on one market, which is a strong factor in the medical space, because regulatory changes in one market could potentially make or break companies. Guys, just 1 year ago, the average person did not know what 3M was. Now everybody has it on their face. For you value investors out there, 3M is currently considered just undervalued by simply Wall Street analysis. Coupled with its recent contracts, this stock is definitely one to watch out for and potentially invest a portion of your holdings into. Next, we have Coca-Cola, which has been giving a solid dividend for the last 58 years. The current dividend is at 3.34%. Now we know what Coca-Cola sells, as in fact it is either 1 or number 2 in its market position in all the sectors it actually operates in. In total, they control around 70% of the non-alcoholic beverage market, but there has been some negative implications for the company due to the current climate, as restaurants and bars and pretty much all the locations Coca-Cola actually sells its products to are actually closed or indeed operating in a reduced capacity. It's definitely impacted sales of their flagship products. In fact, before 2020, 50% of Coca-Cola's sales came from restaurants alone. So there's definitely some concern there. Also, soda consumption is actually declining every year as more and more people are choosing a healthier lifestyle. But it's worth mentioning that Coca-Cola has a very large brand portfolio of products, so it's not actually just reliant on Coca-Cola itself. Plus, Warren Buffett himself is a very strong advocate of Coca-Cola. He has got a large holding in the firm himself. So if one of the richest men in the world believe in the company, it's definitely one to watch out for. Guys, a quick reminder before I tell you about the next stock. Please smash that like button because it really helps out the channel and keeps it growing. Okay, so next we have Chevron Corporation. That's right, the oil company which gives a dividend of 5.85%, so nearly 6%. Chevron has been increasing or keeping a stable dividend for the last 33 years. Look guys, most of the world is investing in solar power and green companies, which do have a lot of merit. But we're forgetting that big oil is here to stay for a very, very long time. Society isn't going to have a day where we just switch to electric, so we're still going to be relying on oil for a very long time. In fact, there isn't even a battery technology developed yet which can actually sustainably transform the way we actually use and store electric power. And despite all the good things about electric power, oil is still the cheapest way to power anything. Even cheaper than the power you get from the sun. Chevron reported a quarterly loss a few days ago. Despite this, they still gave investors a dividend, citing that they had a strong balance sheet and they could scale back expenditure to actually give this out. So if you want a piece of that oil money, then head over to Chevron and give it some juice. Next, we have a massive juggernaut, a Goliath when it comes to telecoms. This company has given a dividend for the last 36 years and it is currently given a dividend of 7.14%. Yes, 7% dividends. And it is considered one of the best dividend stocks out there. And it is, of course, AT&T. Guys, AT&T is the largest telecom company in the entire world, not just US. And its revenue is derived from 4 business categories. One being communication services, broadband, TV, which it provides to 100 million consumers. That's nearly 1/3 of America using AT&T. The company generates around $181 billion annually, and the company is currently worth around $200 billion, which makes it a large cap stock. Moreover, in recent times, it has acquired Time Warner, which in fact owns HBO. There is certainly some opportunity there for growth within the streaming market, which Netflix currently dominates. So there is some potential for growth for this stock. Now, I recently did a poll on my Instagram because I wanted to find out whether people prefer growth stocks or dividend stocks. And people geared towards growth stocks. Guys, yes, there is potentially a lot of money to be made in large chunks with growth stocks, where a stock can appreciate quite quickly in its price. As Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank said, over the last 40 years, 71% of market returns came from dividend payouts and not appreciation. Now, Kevin actually says that he doesn't own any stock that doesn't pay him a dividend payment. Now, if he's put in that much importance on dividend stocks that pay out a payment on a quarterly or annual basis, it's definitely worth checking out for small investors because this guy has billions of dollars under management. Now, dividend stocks are a good way to build passive income, but there are other options out there. If you want to know how to invest in property through the stock market and potentially earn money that is derived from rental income, then check out my video here, which I talk about REITs. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video and I'll see you next time.